While the rest of the world scrambled to prepare for the coming freeze, one man remained calm. Most of us believe that outlasting a winter night requires a towering bonfire. However, in the unforgiving landscape of the American frontier, a massive flame was a death sentence. It signaled your position to everyone for miles, devoured your wood supply in an instant, and choked the air with thick smoke. Yet legends like Simon Kenton thrived in conditions reaching 20 below zero with no cabin, no tent, and no visible fire. Here at Reliance, we're diving into a nearly forgotten silent technique that defies modern logic. I'm going to show you the subsurface heating secret that kept 18th century scouts alive, and why it remains your best bet in a crisis today. Simon Kenton was the undisputed Iron Man of the late 1700s. He spent his life navigating the brutal wilderness of what we now call Kentucky and Ohio, often remaining perfectly still through nights that would freeze a modern hiker solid. Unlike the pioneers, he couldn't hide behind log walls or stone hearths. His survival depended on being invisible and mobile. He relied on a strategy likely adapted from the Shawnee or Wyandot people, a method polished by the sheer necessity of staying alive when the world wanted to kill him. You see, the air temperature isn't what actually ends you. It's the extraction of your internal heat. Dampness, biting winds, and the literal frozen earth beneath your boots are the true thieves. A roaring fire might feel good on your face, but it creates a target on your back and leaves you freezing the moment the light fades. Kenton and his peers needed a way to harness energy without the spectacle. They required a long-lasting thermal battery hidden right under their feet. The genius of this tactic starts with a hole about as deep and wide as a human skull. The foundation of the entire system is dry white oak bark. This isn't just a random choice. White oak burns with an intense, steady heat and refuses to create the billowing smoke that gives away your position. After igniting a small bed of glowing embers inside the pit, you layer more bark in a specific weave to manage the oxygen. Finally, you cover the entire thing with a thin layer of earth, leaving just two tiny vents the size of a pencil. What you have now isn't a campfire, it's an underground furnace. There is no light to be seen and no smoke to be smelled, just a constant rising column of warmth. This is the kind of deep knowledge we value at Reliance, where the old ways meet modern grit. A single setup can radiate warmth for nearly 20 hours. Kenton would sit directly atop this hidden heater, wrapping himself in a heavy wool cloak that draped all the way to the dirt. The cloak acted as a personal insulation chamber, catching every bit of warmth rising from the soil, while the earth itself shielded him from the wind. They called this building a small room, even as a blizzard roared and the mercury plummeted. Kenton sat in a pocket of warm air, often waking up to find several inches of snow on his shoulders, completely oblivious to the storm. This isn't just a fun piece of history, it's a masterclass in how to manage heat and stealth. Modern equipment can break batteries, eventually drain, and fancy fuel canisters run dry. But the physics of soil insulation and controlled smoldering never change. When you move on, you simply fill the hole, leaving zero evidence you were ever there. True survival isn't about the gear you buy, it's about the wisdom you carry. As we always say at Reliance, the people who truly endure are those who stop fighting nature and start using its own rules to stay warm.